Gas cars are back. Ford's CEO just shut down their EV production, leaving the entire industry in disbelief and all the enthusiasts jumping for joy. He thinks EVs are killing the middle class, and the only way to stop political leaders from forcing EVs so hard is to straight up shut them down. Seeing a loss of more than $4 billion in a single year, having to fire thousands of local employees, recalling hundreds and thousands of vehicles due to issues, this is just the tip of the iceberg for Ford's EV problems. Why are EVs not selling? Could Ford be shutting its doors? EVs have been secretly doing more harm than good, and if you don't believe me, watch this video very carefully. Here's what exactly happened. Ford just made a massive U-turn, shocking the entire car industry. They just shut down the production of their best-selling EV pickup to fight the evil politicians pushing costly electric cars upon us. CEO Jim Farley just announced that they're shutting down F-150 production at their Dearborn, Michigan factory. But the real reason why Ford has to do this might make you never want to buy an EV. I'm going to expose 5 shocking reasons later in this video, and one of them has even led to people dying due to EV unreliability. So let's start with the hero of our story, the public and the EV market that's now crashing hard. On the other side, we've got the villain, initially Ford itself, and of course, the government, who pushed EVs like they were the only future we had. Now, our journey begins with Ford happily making internal combustion engine cars. But then along comes the government waving the EV flag, claiming it's the future. And Ford had to go all in. Joe Biden set such difficult emissions norms that it was impossible to meet them without selling a whole bunch of EVs. But he didn't care if they were ready or not. But here's where the plot thickens. Despite all the government pushing, customers straight up hate EVs. Literally. Ford's EVs, especially the F-150 Lightning, were supposed to be the next big thing. But guess what? They weren't selling. Dealerships are like ghost towns with over 90,000 EVs gathering dust. And Ford isn't the only company facing this threat. General Motors is also having the same problem, but unlike Ford, this happened to them due to their very own CEO, and more on that in a minute. Even the dealers spoke out loud and clear in an open letter to President Biden. We're not ready for this EV future. And Ford, they were left holding the hot potato. It was a disaster. Ford is now losing money to the tune of $36,000 lost on each EV sold. Can you believe that? And it wasn't just Ford. The entire EV market is in chaos. As a result of the shutdown, about 1,400 workers at the Rogue Electric Vehicle Center, where the Lightning is built, are facing the music. Half of them will be moving to a nearby plant, increasing production for the gasoline-powered Ford Bronco and Ranger models. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Ford's recalls. They've recently recalled 35,000 Mustang Mach-E EVs because of a battery issue that could result in a loss of driving power. This followed a previous recall of 49,000 Mach-E vehicles. It's like a nightmare that keeps repeating. But Ford's woes don't end there. They've been the top automaker for recalls in the US for the last 2 years. That's a record no one should want. In 2022, they issued 68 recalls, affecting over 8.7 million vehicles. And the year before that, 53 recalls for 4.5 million cars. The cost? A staggering $4 billion just to cover warranty costs. Oh, and by the way, the only company that warned us about this happening a year ago, Toyota, is doing something completely different, which I'll cover in a minute. Customers like Texas-based Lightning owner Justin Esquivel are feeling the burn. His $90,000 EV truck has been sitting idle for months now. The company's quality issues aren't new. They've had their fair share of problems with new vehicle launches, and the EV shift is just adding fuel to the fire. Nearly every new Ford released recently faced costly recalls. So what does Ford do? They pull the plug on EV production, smartly. That's right, Ford's CEO Jim Farley said enough is enough. They realized that their customers still wanted ICE cars, the good old gas guzzlers. Now, let's talk about other big companies. First up, we have General Motors. The scene here is even more dramatic, with over 1,000 workers fired in a week, and financial chaos everywhere you look. At the center of this storm is GM CEO Mary Barra, whose decisions are raising more than a few eyebrows. Mary's strategy? Focusing on luxury EVs, ignoring the needs of the common man. She believes that cheaper EVs under $30,000 won't ever be profitable, so why bother? GM also killed its plan to build 400,000 cheap EVs by 2030 and scrapped their partnership with Honda completely. Their cars are some of the most unreliable ones out there, with hundreds of reports concerning software glitches, problems with the vehicle's braking system leading to accidents, and poor interior quality despite the hefty price everyone is having to pay. Okay, we get it, man. People don't want to buy EVs. So what are they buying then? Get this, nearly half of EV buyers are now trading in their shiny new electric cars for good old hybrids. That's right, people are running back to the familiar embrace of gas and hybrid cars. And the reason? Hybrids are simply cheaper, less of a hassle, and let's face it, more in line with what the average Joe and Jane can afford and handle. The average hybrid costs around $42,381, a steal compared to the $59,400 you'd have to cough up for an EV. But if there's any company that seems to be unaffected by the EV market going down, it's Toyota. This is because Akio Toyoda, the big boss of Toyota, has been shouting from the rooftops about the dangers of going all in on EVs. While other car makers were going gaga over electric vehicles, Toyota was the lone voice in the wilderness, warning everyone that we're heading for a cliff. Toyota's been saying it loud and clear, EVs aren't the golden ticket to carbon neutrality. He's all about giving consumers the choice, and he's not alone. Even Elon Musk, the EV king himself, took a $28 billion hit because of Tesla's plunging shares. Toyota's not just talking, he's been investing big time in some secret projects that could change the game. We're talking about a new type of ammonia engine promising insane mileage, like 1,000 miles on a single tank. That's like driving from New York City to Miami without stopping for gas. Investors across the globe, especially those big-shot European funds, are freaking out. They're worried that Toyota's anti-EV stance will leave them in the dust. But Toyota, they're standing their ground. But if you thought this was the only reason for people not buying EVs, you're in for a huge shock. First off, let's talk about reliability. It turns out EVs have almost 80% more repair issues than your good old gas or hybrid cars. Imagine forking over a fortune for a brand new EV, only to face a barrage of problems. Batteries not charging, rattling noises from the body, you name it. But wait, of course, it gets worse. Repairs on these high-tech machines can cost you an arm and a leg. We're not talking about a few $100 here. One tiny scratch on your EV could leave you with a monstrous $60,000 bill. It's like buying a new car just to fix the old one. And if you think that's bad, there's a guy in Canada who faced a $50,000 bill just to replace his Tesla's battery. That's right, replacing a battery costs almost as much as buying a new car. The third headache for EV owners, the charging infrastructure. It's an absolute mess, to put it mildly. You'd think owning an EV means you're set for life, right? Wrong, bucko. Come winter, these cars lose their juice faster than you can say charge. A drop of up to 41% in range just because it's cold? That's like your phone dying on you when you need it the most. And the charging stations, oh man, they're either broken or so crowded you'd think they're giving it away for free. This leaves EV owners stranded, regretting their switch from reliable gas cars. Now let's talk about something downright terrifying. EVs catching fire. Remember Omar Awan's case? His Tesla Model S turned into a fireball after a crash, trapping him inside. This isn't just a freak accident. EVs catching fire has become a chilling reality, and it all boils down to the lithium-ion batteries. When they go wrong, they go really wrong, leading to fires or even explosions. But that's not all. EVs are riddled with software glitches. VW's been hit hard by this, recalling thousands of vehicles. And GM's Cadillac Lyriq recalled, and they weren't even selling well to begin with. And let's not forget two big issues everyone's aware of: range anxiety and sky-high prices. You'd have to shell out a whopping $20,000 more than a hybrid to get an EV and then drive it for at least 60,000 miles just to start saving money. So here's the bottom line. The EV market is an absolute mess right now. If you're thinking of buying an EV, my advice is hold off. Stick to gas or hybrids for the time being. So now, Ford is going all in on combustion cars. They're ramping up production of gas-powered Broncos and Rangers, creating jobs, and getting back to what they do best. It's like they're saying, "We heard you, customers, and we're giving you what you want." But the government, they're still stuck on EVs. They're still pushing for 67% of all new vehicles in 2032 to be EVs. And that's a tall order. And Ford's decision to cut back on EVs is a big blow to this plan. It's like a reality check. Maybe we're not ready for an all-EV future just yet. But the real question is, what does this mean for the future of cars? Are the political leaders interfering in the car market? Could EVs be a scam? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I just uploaded a video about groundbreaking news that could hurt the entire EV industry. Do check it out if you want to be truly shocked by what's about to happen with EVs.